Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shop Dropcast. I'm Tim Nash, curator of Shop Drop Daily, and this week's a big one. Another bumper 4-week recap of all the shops I've dropped. 20 activations from weeks 27 through to 30. Now, when I was putting these together, one thing struck me. The strongest brand activations today aren't just about creating stores, they're creating states of mind. They're not shouting at us with product, they're inviting us into worlds, sometimes playful, sometimes nostalgic, sometimes deeply cultural, but always intentional. So as we go through these 20 drops, I want you to think, when was the last time a brand made you feel something in a space? Not just see something, but really feel it. Because that's the thread tying this bumper set together. So, let's dive in. We'll start in London, where CLOT's country club pop-up landed during Wimbledon. This wasn't just tennis merch. It was upstairs varsity nostalgia, a basement turned lawn installation, and cafe AO in between. And I think this matters because while most sports brands lean on performance, CLOT leaned on belonging. It asked, what if the clubhouse is about culture, not competition? Then over in Shanghai, champions Wing It Today mash racing and ballet into one surreal world. DIY workshops, soaring wing sculptures, cinematic settings. What I loved here was the risk, mixing categories that don't traditionally sit together. Do brands play it too safe? Could more of them benefit from this kind of cultural mashup? From surreal to sentimental, Adidas Originals and Oasis in Manchester. Honestly, this gave me goosebumps. The Britpop reunion, the archive memorabilia, the city roots. It wasn't commerce, it was homecoming. And here's my hot take. Nostalgia, when done with authenticity, might be the most powerful retail tool we have right now. But it's a double-edged sword. Do you risk leaning too hard on the past at the expense of the future? Farm Rio and Studio Campana at Selfridges tackled that differently. They literally built a forest in the middle of London retail. Wicker, foliage, tactility everywhere. It wasn't nostalgia, it was sensory immersion. And it makes me ask, are we craving nature in retail because our daily lives feel so digital, so disconnected? Speaking of pushing boundaries, MAC Shanghai, designed with Li Xiang, blew me away. A flagship that literally turned lipsticks into music. Scarlet steel, piston-like fixtures, a piano built from lipsticks. It was retail as performance art. But here's the question. When does theatricality stop selling and start distracting? Or is that even the point? To stop us in our tracks and reset our expectations of beauty? From Shanghai to the Hamptons, Ferragamo turned Bridgehampton's Top-in-Rose house into a Mediterranean fantasy. Parasols, raffia bags, poolside escapism. I keep saying this, luxury is shifting from possession to participation. It's not buy a bag, it's live the story. And Ferragamo nailed that. AMIRI's beach club at Selfridges took a similar path, but much louder. Sand floors, cafes, sound labs, customization. Less lifestyle, more playground. And it raises an interesting contrast. When does retail hospitality serve as subtle storytelling? And when is it about sheer spectacle? In Tokyo, Acne Studios opened a flagship that proves brutalism can feel warm. Pink granite, max lamb seating, Takura Kawata ceramics. What fascinates me here is how Acne built a dialogue between Stockholm and Tokyo, between raw materials and refined craft. It's not a store, it's a cultural handshake. Armani and Kith in Beijing explored duality differently. Italian summers fused with New York street. Two worlds, one space. And again, I find myself asking, are collabs still fresh in 2025? Or are they becoming default? Maybe the trick is making them feel less like marketing, more like cultural collage. Then YSL Beauty's Love Game in Madrid, pure energy, piñatas, claw machines, chess, olfactory massages, over 10,000 visitors. It was beauty as play. And I think that's vital. Beauty marketing for so long was about perfection. Now it's about participation, fun, risk, ridiculousness. In Aranya, Joe Malone London built a raspberry ripple seaside house. Pink windmills, ice cream pairings, seagull sculptures. It was joyful and whimsical, but more importantly, it layered scent, taste, and play into one coherent memory. This is where Joe Malone always wins. Subtle, sensory storytelling that really lingers. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Tiffany Co Ginza opened 14 stories of brand world. Warhol, Turrell, Michelin Dining, Peter Marina Interiors. This wasn't a flagship, it was a cultural institution. And here's my take. Luxury brands are no longer competing with each other. They're competing with museums, they're competing with the places people make memories. House Nowhere and She Shu Tong gave us a pyjama capsules inside teddy bear dreamscapes across Shanghai and Seoul. It was wild, but it makes a deeper point. Rita today is about escape, playful, absurd, but unforgettable. Do we underestimate the commercial value of whimsy? In Hong Kong, Louis Vuitton unveiled Pharrell Nigo's men's pop-up. Matcha cafes, collectible objects, cultural crossovers. And this to me is LV at its best, mixing street with heritage, never afraid to make luxury feel casual. The lesson? Cultural credibility doesn't come from scale, it comes from who you stand next to. Lacoste's Café Lacoste in Monaco was a quieter triumph. French sport chic translated into gastronomy. Pistachio crocodile desserts, signature cocktails. This is fascinating because it asks, should every brand be in hospitality? Or does it only work when the DNA aligns? Adidas Originals in Chengdu nailed cultural relevance with Clover Panda Station. Panda sculptures in Adidas fits, collabs with Dorothy Tang, personalization. This wasn't about selling shoes, it was about embedding Adidas into China's cultural fabric. And that, I think, is where global brands often miss the mark. They show up, but don't always listen. Here, Adidas listened. Crocs' Soho Icon store in New York went the opposite way. Unapologetically goofy. Fire escapes, bodegas, EXP line debuts. Crocs leaned all the way into its identity, and it worked. Why? Because people respect clarity of voice, even if they don't love the product. Glossier and Magnolia Bakery in London was another playful masterstroke. Bernardo Pudding meets Balm.com. Buy one, taste the other. Cross-category, cross-sensory. But here's the big idea. Are we going to see more beauty brands leaning into food? It's emotional, it's indulgent, it's Instagrammable. So why not? In Tokyo, Prada's Diner pop-up brought retro Americana to Isetan. Chrome, neon, bowling alleys. But it wasn't parody, it was Prada. And that's the key. You can borrow cultural tropes, but you have to make them yours. And finally, in Amsterdam, Maison Margiela's replica terrace at Dubai. Minimal, white, citrus-scented, cafe cocktails, quiet, refined. Proof that sometimes the best retail isn't a takeover, it's a whisper. So, 20 drops, 20 different worlds, but one clear story. Retail in 2025 is less about stores, more about states of being. Some key shifts I see. Hospitality is the new heritage. From Lacoste in Monaco to Ferragamo in the Hamptons, brands aren't just selling, they're hosting. Play is power. From YSL's Pinatas to Crocs bodegas, fun is driving connection as much as function. Culture is context. Adidas with pandas, Oasis in Manchester, CLOT at Wimbledon. Authenticity happens when brands embed, not impose. Slowness equals luxury. Tiffany's Ginza, Joe Malone in Aranya, Farm Rio at Selfridges, all slowing people down in an age of speed. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If your brand disappeared tomorrow, what sensory memory would your audience keep? Because that's what these activations are really building. Not just moments, memories. And in the end, memories are what drive meaning. If you want to explore all these examples and hundreds more, head to shopdropdaily.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn for daily global inspiration. and hit subscribe wherever you are listening to this podcast. And don't miss SDD and Me, our interview series with the people behind the projects. We've recently featured founder of TVM Space Tom Morgan and head of retail at Broadwich Studio, Gemma Boudeville. Check them out at shopdropdaily.com. Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay creative, and I'll catch you on the next drop.